Hi everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video because I'm going to discuss all the queer releases for the month of July. I was thinking about video ideas, and one thing that really came to me was the idea of reading and promoting queer books all throughout the year, not just during Pride Month. Especially as someone that mainly tries to read a lot of queer literature, I was like, what kind of video can I do? And that got me thinking about, let's discuss some of the new releases that are coming. But I figured, hey, I bet there's somebody that already does this. I bet there's somebody that lays out month by month. I'm very familiar with people that do it over on Instagram, so I thought it was something that was already probably happening over here. And from what I could find, I could not find that. I could find people discussing stuff they were excited for the year or the first half of the year, but I thought, hey, let's just go through all the books that are coming out for July that are queer or have been listed as LGBT, and then maybe this can be something that I implement in the future for my channel. And so month by month, I'm just gonna research and give you the list of the new books to look out for if you're looking for queer literature. So if you don't want to end your Pride party in June, don't worry, I have you covered with all the books that are going to be released in July. That being said, the way that I did this was by going through Goodreads. There might be another site that would be better, maybe like a publishing site, but this was the easiest that I had found. But even still, I really had to dig to try and find how to get to that new release page because Goodreads has updated it and it has been changed a little bit. So if I missed a couple, please let me know because I want to know everything that's coming out. But if you're looking for another site that lists new books, my top one is LGBTreads.com. I believe this is run by Becky Albertalli, who is a published YA author. I love going on this site. They always let me know about new releases, and it's a great source for finding queer books, but it's not the easiest to navigate for new releases, so I thought this video would be helpful in that respect as well. And the other site that I found some good information for is called Prepub Alert. That website is not like a one-to-one helpful guide because you have to hope that the publisher put in that it was queer into like the little blurb, but it was another resource I used. But besides that, I also follow a couple people on Instagram that always are talking about the new releases, giving you an updated list. As I'm filming this, their lists have not been released yet. They release it closer to the first of the month, which makes sense, but I just thought it's another resource. So if I had anything that missed through the cracks or you just want to look at pretty pictures, totally understand. So I like to follow Eloise Brad Books. I will leave their handle in the description as well. And I also follow Mary B Books. Both of them have really good lists every single month. And another creator I really enjoy is Anvy Reads. They do mostly sapphic books, but just another resource of some really great creators that I really enjoy that also a lot of times discuss new releases. With that out of the way, let us get into what books are releasing. And I will say some of the blurbs for books are so long. The book descriptions are too dang long. I didn't want to be spoiled, so I shortened them to the first paragraph or two just so that I could kind of get the gist and tell you about them. But if you want a longer description, I do recommend going on Storygraph or Goodreads or just to a physical bookstore so you can read the description yourself. But we have like over 25 books, so we need to go through fast, so we're just going to get first impressions. If you don't know, most, if not all, books published on Tuesdays. New Release Tuesday is a thing. So for the most part, you're always going to have your new releases on every single Tuesday. So beginning with July 1st, which is the first Tuesday of the month. So the first book we have is Hot Girls with Balls by Benedict Nguyen, and this is a literary fiction with queer, sapphic, and trans representation, and it is supposed to be like a satirical sports literary fiction book, and it is about two volleyball players on rival teams that are like in some type of situationship, or there's like some weird jealousy thing going on, rivals thing going on. This one was instantly added to my list. I love sports, I want something satirical, I want something fun, but I also want to read some literary fiction. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I have really no idea what it's really about. The description I'm getting, it sounds like a riot, so I can't wait to read it. The next book we have is Tenderly I Am Devoured by Lindell Clipstone. This is young adult horror and gothic, and a young woman binds herself to a demon to save her family from ruin, and chaos ensues from there. It's listed as queer, but I'm not sure the representation for it. The next book we have is Coffee Shop in an Alternate Universe by C.B. Lee. This is young adult cozy fantasy with a sapphic romance, and it is a portal fantasy. So our main character Brenda is working for a scholarship in an internet cafe and somehow is swept into a fantasy coffee shop. The next book we have is Crash Test by Amy James. This is an adult sports romance with Achillean representation or MM representation, and this is about Formula One drivers. These two have been secretly dating for a year and then stuff goes awry. I'm always drawn to the sports romance, but the Formula One thing obsession is interesting to me, to say the least. It really happened out of nowhere, so I'm on the fence about that one, but somebody needs to read it and tell me if it's good or not, because I'm always open to it being good. The next book we have is Viscounts and Villainy, which is book 3 to the Roaring Twenties Magic series. This is adult fantasy, it's historical and paranormal, and it is MM or Achillean, and so this is a conclusion to a historical fantasy series, and I believe this is published by Harlequin, but not the Harlequin Presents, like one of their trade publisher imprints. The next book we have is Human Rights, which is the third book in Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. This is a series I've really wanted to read. It's fantasy, it's historical, it's witchy urban fantasy with a host of queer characters, I'm told, so I really do want to read that, but I need to read the first one first. Going to the next week, starting on July 8th, we have Ascension, which is the much anticipated book 2 in the Summoner's Circle by S.T. Gibson. This is adult fantasy, it's dark academia, and I believe it's poly. So this is a sequel, so I don't know too much about it. I've heard a lot about the first one. Some people have very mixed opinions on it. Some people really, really love it, but it's like dark academia, academic rivals with a poly group, which is MFM. I'm not sure the order about how you're supposed to do the lettering, but I know that they're all together in a relationship, I believe. And then the next book we have is Clementine Book 3 by Tilly Walden. I love Tilly Walden's works. I'm really excited for this. It's young adult, graphic novel, horror, and sapphic. And I did not know this. I had been interested in this series. I hadn't read it yet, but it's actually inspired by, or it's part of the world of The Walking Dead. It's its own story set in the universe of The Walking Dead. So I'm very intrigued by that because it doesn't look like a typical corporate production novel. Going to an outlier, we have something publishing on July 10th, and that's going to be Great Black Hope by Rob Franklin. This is literary fiction, it's contemporary, and it's queer. I'm not quite sure the representation on it, but it is a debut novel about a young black man that has just been arrested for cocaine in the Hamptons, and he is a Stanford graduate, and his life is seemingly in turmoil. Sounds like it's going to be a hard-hitting literary fiction, so I'm intrigued by that. Going into July 15th, we have The Wayward Girls by Susan Wiggs. This is historical fiction, adult, and it's queer, so I'm not quite sure the representation on it. But this author got a lot of acclaim for her last book, which was The Berry Pickers. So this is going to be historical literary fiction, and it sounds like it's 6 girls at a Catholic reform school. And so I know that she's Native, so I'm not sure if this is a Native reform school or not, but very intrigued by that. The next book we have is The Golden by Lauren Wilson. This is young adult, it's mystery thriller, and it's queer. So our main character has always dreamed of being a writer, and then she meets an influencer, Clara, and they move in together, and it starts this weird obsession storyline, I believe, where Claire is this very infamous person hosting these crazy parties that Chloe gets involved in. The next book we have is Hit Me With Your Best Charm by Lily Vale, and this is young adult fantasy, and it's contemporary, and it's listed as lesbian. And the kind of tagline is that there's 3 things that this town is famous for. One of them being its fall festival, the second being a secret wishing well in the forest, and the third being that the main character's father has disappeared. The next book we have is House of Beth by Carrie Cullen. This is adult literary fiction, it's gothic horror, and it's supposed to be queer. And it looks like this falls in to the sad literary girl kind of a genre that we're seeing. This girl loses her job after being overworked as a literary assistant. She retreats to her hometown, and then some weird stuff starts to go down in the woods. The next book we have is The Other Wife by Jackie Thomas Kennedy. This is adult fiction, it's contemporary, it's a queer book, and it is another debut. It looks like this woman is in her mid-40s, and she's always dreamed of the perfect life with a partner and a child and a house, but it never just seems to happen. So another sad girl literary pick. And it looks like she goes back to her hometown. I'm not sure if there's a magical element there or if it's just her going back home. Very intrigued. The next book we have is No Body, No Crime by Tess Sharp. This is young adult mystery thriller, and it's sapphic. And it looks like they are covering up a murder, or they're discovering a murder being covered up. I'm not quite too sure by the description, but I'm intrigued nonetheless. I like that we're getting a lot of horror and mystery picks. We're definitely getting into the fall vibes already in the middle of July. But going into the next week, we have July 22nd, and the next book we have is The Library at Hellborn by Cassandra Caw, and this is adult fantasy horror listed as dark academia and queer. And of course we have our famous creepy manor institute for gifted people, promising all these things, and then the main character is forcibly kidnapped and brought there. The next book we have is Greenwich by Kate Broad. This is fiction. It's listed as both historical and contemporary, so maybe multiple timelines, and it's queer, and I believe this is also going to be a debut. And it looks like a young girl in the 1990s is struggling. She has a eccentric aunt that she's living with, and she's trying to graduate, trying to get by, and I'm sure things are going to go awry as they always do. Next we have Volatile Memory by Seth Haddon. This is science fiction and fantasy. It's listed as both, so maybe a mix of the two. It's adult, it's queer, and it's listed as FF. And this one sounded really interesting because there's a woman who's on a ship who's like on a mission, but there's something to do with masks in this world. I feel like this is where the fantasy element plays in because it's like an AI mask, but it seems to have some type of sentient properties somehow. So very interested in that. The next book we have is First Time Long Time by Amy Silverback. This is adult fiction, it's contemporary, and it's listed as queer. It's about our main character who moves to LA as an aspiring writer, and it looks like there is some family drama that she keeps getting tied into. The next book we have is A Sketch for Scandal, which is the fourth in a historical romance series. So it looks like these are like companion books set in like the same universe with reoccurring characters. This is by Jess Everly, and it starts the book in London 1886. So if you're looking for a Victorian novel, here you go. But it looks like it's between a barkeep and a private detective, so that is intriguing. And the last book we have for this week is Necessary Fiction by Ilonhusa Osunde, and this looks like it takes place in Nigeria. I'm not sure if it's a short story collection or a collection of vignettes, but it looks like it's following a bunch of different characters who are living out their daily lives. But let's get into July 29th, which I believe is going to be our last week for July. And starting out, we have the much anticipated Raven Boys graphic novel series. And this is, of course, by Maggie Stiefvater, but it's illustrated and produced by Stephanie Williams and Sass Millage. This is young adult graphic novel of a much beloved urban fantasy series, and I'm very intrigued by this adaptation. The next book we have is Silver Cloak by Lauren Steven. This is adult fantasy, romantasy, and it's listed as queer. And it looks like it's going to be a fast-paced adventure detective story with a gang of mages, and it looks like our main character is on a revenge path, and she's joining this, I'm not as sure if it's an assassin school or what it is, but it looks like some type of academy, and it's to bring these assassin mages to justice. The next book we have is The Memory Hunters by Maya Tsei, and it is adult fantasy, science fiction dystopian, and it is listed as a lesbian book and queer, and it looks like there is this mysterious temple society, some type of religious society that deals with like human memories. And so it's our main character who is delving into that. And then it looks like there is kind of like a protector for them. So maybe some bodyguard romance in there. Very intrigued. The next book we have is Donut Summer by Anita Kelly. This is young adult, it's romance, and it's contemporary, and it's listed as a debut. So this is going to be a young adult romance taking place over the summer at a donut shop. And then our last book is Looking for Group by Alexis Hall. This is a book from 2016. I believe it was a self-published work, and now it's getting published traditionally. It's romance, it's MM or acrylic, it's contemporary, and it looks like it draws the line between young adult and adult. And I believe that it is about two boys that play like an MOM together. But yeah, those are all the books that I was able to find that are releasing in July. There's definitely a couple interesting picks on this list, so I'm excited to see what the general consensus is, if it's something to pick up. Let me know if you're going to be picking up any of these reads, if you're intrigued by any of them. And yeah, let me know if this is something that you would like to see here on YouTube more. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later, and happy reading!